You know why I love this so much? I love it because it came out of the blue, unexpected. It's uniquely Nathan Diaz, right? Here he is fighting the number 2 or number 3 best welterweight on the planet, a guy who hasn't lost in 9 fights. Here he is fighting in a month and a half at 170 pounds. And here he is, Chael, making history once again. Remember, he created a belt. They sold out MSG, The Rock was there, the president was there, all that stuff and more, the BMF title, and now he is fighting in the first 5-round non-title fight co-main event in UFC history. This fight will get more attention than the main event, which is a vacant lightweight title fight between Michael Chandler and Charles Oliveira. It will help sell out the Toyota Center on May 15th in Houston, Texas. And oh, by the way, if he does in fact pull it off, all of a sudden you're staring at a potential scenario where Nathan Diaz is the number 1 contender at 170 pounds, and this guy hasn't won a fight since August of 2019. He hasn't fought since November of 2019. This is fun. It's different. I love everything about it.
It caught me off guard, I must tell you. I was pleasantly, but I was surprised. I didn't see any beef between these two. I didn't fully get it. There was no call on it. It wasn't totally Nate Diaz style, except for one regard. And Nate really deserves this to be said about him, which is he only takes hard fights. I mean, Nate Diaz has been given a hard time about his record. You go back and look at the jobs that he signed up for and he went in there to do, and this is no different. Leon is a very tough night out. Now, I do find it very interesting what a different tune Leon is singing. I mean, it was as short as 60 days ago. He wasn't going to fight Chimaev, and he wasn't going to fight Chimaev because Chimaev wasn't a ranked fighter. I mean, what happened to all of that talk? And I only bring that back because words matter. And when guys come out and they start saying these silly things, just say you don't want to fight Chimaev. It's as simple as that, but I will bring for you that the scenario here hasn't changed. You're still fighting an unranked guy that a lot of people want to see. He thinks, in Leon's term, that it's a little bit easier. Look, fair point by me, and I don't mean to be negative about this, but what's different now? Thought you didn't fight unranked fighters.
Chael, let me tell you something that, regardless of what you just said there, should be great news for MMA fans and for fighters. Let me go a little inside baseball with you here for a second. You know how last year you had a situation where you had guys like Jorge Masvidal and John Jones openly complaining about pay. You had a situation where Conor McGregor, only fought, he fought at the very beginning of the year, but not during the pandemic. You had a situation where Nathan Diaz didn't fight during the pandemic. Some of the biggest names in the sport, John Jones did not fight in the pandemic. And the reason for that, Chael, was there was no need to break the bank while you were doing fights at the Apex, while you were finalizing pay-per-view cards a week out. You didn't have to sell tickets. You didn't have to draw a crowd. You just needed to announce it a few days before the event and people would rush to ESPN Plus to buy it. But the times have changed, and now all of a sudden this should be great news for fighters and fans. Take a look at UFC 261. No fans, pandemic, Apex, they're not adding Masvidal Usman to that card. They're keeping it for the fall, but they need to sell tickets, Chael. The game has changed. Take a look at UFC 262. Oliveira Chandler, Ferguson, Beneil Dariush. That's a great pay-per-view for the Apex, but the game has changed. And now you call upon Nathan Diaz to boost that card on the day the tickets go on sale. Do you understand what I'm trying to say here? Last year the narrative was guys openly complaining, Henry Cejudo, etc. Now those big names are going to come back, and they're going to come back sooner, and they're going to be more active. This is great news for fighters and fans, and you see it with 261, you see it with 262. I love everything about this.
I like how you laid it out, but Ariel, share a little inside scoop with me. How did we get to this point? Co-main event going to be 5 rounds, and I know that was discussed. You might remember it was discussed to do between Masvidal and Colby Covington. I know that got buried, but we knew that you and I knew a dialogue was going around the offices that they might do this for a co-main if it was special enough, and did it happen to be for a title? How did we get here?
Okay, so as you know, they wanted to do Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington next, right? That was what was discussed. Your guy Colby isn't interested. Now, I think Colby looks at the calendar and says, oh, Masvidal's fighting Usman on April 24th. I'll just wait it out and fight the winner. Heck, it worked for Jorge Masvidal. It might work for Colby Covington, and so he wasn't quick to take that fight. All right, so there's Leon Edwards. Now, they didn't go to Nathan Diaz with this fight. Nathan went to them. He said, I want this guy. They've offered him other names. lesser opponents, on losing streaks, guys who aren't ranked. He said, no, I want this guy who everyone is saying is this badass top 3 guy who's on this winning streak. I want this guy. And hey, I like to make history. Let's spice it up. Let's go 5 rounds so I could show people that I'm the unofficial champion, that I could go 5 rounds no matter against who, no matter against where on the card. And so they put it together. Leon loved it. The guy certainly deserves a big name. It's the next best thing other than fighting for the belt. And of course, Nate loves it because he loves making history. And now he has just made history once again.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.